What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Zach. Listen to me, and listen to me really good, because I know a lot need to hear this. Just because you go through something doesn't mean that's what you're always going to go through. Just like I've told you, things that I've been through. That doesn't mean that I'm always going to go through that. It just means that's what I've always been through. Up until, this point, you know, that was what's behind me. But what I'm saying to you is this: no matter what you go through, you're going to get through. You're always going to get through. I promise you that. No matter what it is. Just as I've told you, I've always had trouble with, the dating, the relationships. All because, so many people were judgmental because of me having a wheelchair. And I get it, to those, there's so many people out there that's already taken. So, that I understand. But here's what I'm saying to you. Just because you go through that heartbreak for a certain amount of time doesn't mean that you're always going to go through that. Just because you go through so many years of judgment doesn't mean you're always going to have to deal with judgment. So what I'm saying to you is this again: just because you go through it doesn't mean you're always going to have to go through it. Just means it's a phase. And, sometimes things end up taking a lot longer to get through than what you hope for, or what you expect. And that's understandable, Also, just like with my, with me trying to learn how to walk, I'll be 37 in October, and I'm still sitting in a wheelchair, all because of my balance, as on my level 1 spina bifida effects. But that doesn't mean that when I get to 37, doesn't mean that I won't be walking in. I could be. Who knows? That's one thing you never know. You never know what tomorrow's going to be. Let me say it this way: just because you're going through a rough time today, or maybe you went through a rough time, last week up to today, doesn't mean that rough time is always going to last. It doesn't mean that that's always going to happen. Because tough times never last. Tough people do. And like I said, I understand it. 100% understand it. When you go through rough times, you think, oh, this is hell. This is the way it's always going to be. Well, I get that. It feels like that sometimes. But just because you're going through hell doesn't mean that you're always going to go through it. Go through rough water first. But on the other side of that rough water is what you've been waiting for. That's your goal. That's where the smooth is. That's where you're free. That's where you're going. But like I said, just because you go through it doesn't mean you're gonna always go through it. Right now, you might be someone that's going through a lot of hell. I understand that 100%. Because yes, as someone that has, that's sitting in a wheelchair, I have those days, those times as well. Now, I'm not trying to make this all about me, but, I have those times as well, you know. And as I've mentioned, just because I've went 36, almost 37 years, never been on dates or relationships, because so many people, judge, you know, or, and just name call, put it that way. Because I've even had that happen. That doesn't mean that's always going to happen. Sometimes people go through things a lot longer than some people realize. And just because you go through something doesn't mean that you're always going to go through it. It's a phase. In other words, just because you go through something, like I said, doesn't always mean you're always going to go through that. Because things can change in a positive way for you real fast. Real fast. Faster than you can snap your fingers. So whatever you're going through, remember, take a deep breath and relax. Stay confident. Stay patient. Keep being you. And keep smiling. Keep smiling. Tough times do not last. Tough people, tough people do. And again, I know easier said than done. Some people, yes, go through rough times, maybe just for a couple days, and then boom, they're back, to their happy self. And sometimes people go through, rough times for even months. And sometimes it's even years. Depending on that situation. Like I said, for me, it's always been hell for me. Being almost 37 years old and still never been on dates or relationships. Because so many people were judgmental from age of 18 to now being 36. And it sucks. Yes, it does suck. But always remember this. Again, remember, tough times, tough situations don't last. But tough people do. Like I said, I get it. Easier said than done. But trust me, what you're going through, there's always an end spot to what you're going through. In other words, you can only go through tough times for so long. And after a certain point, you made it. Look at you. You made it through those rough times. Because like I said, tough times don't last. tough people do. So just because you go through something, maybe, just because you go through rough times, it doesn't mean that you're always going to go through those rough times. I mean, yeah, rough times happen, every day. Everybody goes through it, something. It's everybody goes through something, a different situation. But just because you go through a rough time or times doesn't mean that those rough times always last. Because you're a lot stronger. You're a lot more confident than you may think. So again, with that said, keep being you and let nothing or no one hold you back. And again, it's like me here with the YouTube. I had doubts, in the very beginning of how things were going to turn out. I wasn't sure. This is something and still something that's been really new to me. But the more that I started making, the YouTube videos and posting here and replying to everybody and seeing how comments go and everything, the more I thought, you know what? I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. And then here we are now to over 3 years here on YouTube. And like I said, being the fact that I've done this for over 3 years has made a huge, huge impact on me, a huge positive impact. Because, like I said, I've had people or individuals, comment and ask me, how do you deal with bullies or judgmental people or, mean people? Well, I've been through all of that, so I'm able to express, and tell you and how I would handle those situations, because I've been through it. And even, like I said, when there's a situation or situations that I've never been through, let me know what that situation is, and I'll give you my advice on how I would handle that situation or situations. So keep being you. And you know what? For over 3 years, like I said, I've been here on YouTube for over 3 years, and you know what? I couldn't be prouder than I am right now to be able to get the chance to help so many people. When you get the chance to help somebody, do it. Because I promise you, when you help somebody, it leaves a huge impact on you, a huge positive impact. In fact, I'll say this, and I know I've mentioned this many, many times, and like I said, just like I was saying, I've dealt with, I've helped people who have, asked me, how do you deal with bullies? How do you deal with mean people? Well, again, I've dealt with it. I've been there. And I've had one person ask me, or and then asked me, they commented, said, I'm in a dark place, and hearing your voice really helps me. It really helped me get out of that dark spot. Because of you, I'm not depressed anymore. Because of you, I'm able to smile now. And you know what? I can't tell you enough in enough words just how much of an impact, a big positive impact that has made. And still today, that positive, big positive impact is still on me. It's still there. And I gotta tell you what, that's an amazing feeling. To be able to help somebody and know that you helped them is, it's a feeling that I can't explain. You know, when I get the chance to help somebody, I'm all for it. And when I go to sleep at night, I get to lay there and think, you really helped somebody. And, you know, that again leaves a huge positive impact on me. And that's why I like to keep doing this. That's why I love to be able to help people. Because y'all make a huge and have made a huge positive impact on me. More than you may know. Because like I said, what you've been through isn't what you're always going to go through. That's what you've been through, or what you've been through. It's just a phase. Because think about it this way. Look where you've been. Look what you've been through. And look at you right now. You know, what you've been through in the beginning, yeah, it might have messed with you big time. In fact, I know it will mess with, and I know it has messed with a lot of people going through a rough time. But then again, just because you went through that rough spot doesn't mean you're always going to go through that rough spot. You know? So with that said, again, keep your head up. Keep going. And keep being you. I'm proud of you. More than I can express. I'm beyond proud of you. I'm beyond proud of you. And with that said again, yes, I am making this a working, paying job. Because this is one thing that I love doing. Is to try to help as many people as I can, possibly. You know? And again, that is also how I was born and raised. Yes, I told you all, you know, like what all I've been through, but that's not the person I am. That's what I went through, and that was a long ass phase. And I promise you this: those people out there that try to knock you down, and they see you get up, and they're gonna think, how in the heck are they still going? But then you're going to get those people who also saw you get knocked down, but at the same time saw you get up and say, you know what? You're back up. We're with you. Let's go. So in other words, you're going to get that group of people that's always with you. That's always going to have your back. That's always going to be there. You know, they're not going to, you know, and I get it. You know, some people, yes, have busy days, or whatever the case may be. But you always remember this. There are those people out there that if you call and say, hey, I need your help, or hey, this is what's going on, I need somebody to talk to, somebody's always going to pick up and listen and help you through those situations. Because guess what? There are so many amazing, amazing people out there. More than you may know and understand. And that's understandable because look at the hell that you went through. Look at all the hell that you've been through. Like I said, some of us, some, maybe it's just weeks that you go through hell. Maybe it's months. And some people, yes, I'm one of those included on that one, on this one. And some people, maybe it's even years. In fact, there's no maybe to about it. It is years. Depending on what your situation is. Yeah, I've dealt with the hell that I told you I've dealt with. With the all the times I was bullied, which was 3 times bullied, almost 4. All the judgment that I've had to go through because I have been in a wheelchair. And there's really no reason for that. There's no reason for that judgment. Because even with the disability, you're still 100% human. They're 100% different, but 100% true story about you. So with that said, again, keep your head up and keep going. You got a lot of people that's gonna follow you and stick by you. You got a lot of people that's gonna stick by you because again, they saw the hell they went through. But on the same note, they've also saw, oh, we went through hell, but now look at you. Now you're up smiling. And those same people are going to be right there with you. Including me. So keep being you. I'm proud of you. And I'll say that as much as much as needed. I'm proud of you. More than a lot of you people might know. And that's what a lot of people need to hear. There's a lot of people out there that may not get to hear that. Get to hear that, hey, I'm proud of you. I love you. And yeah, it's sad that a lot of people that got to go through that, not get to hear I'm proud of you, or I get to hear I love you. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. So keep being you and let nothing or no one hold you back. Like I said, when I saw I see the subscribers now at 652 subscribers. I can't say thank you enough to all 652 subscribers for all you've done, for all you do, for all the shares, the likes, the comments, and the total views. Holy smokes. Wow. Which I will do a thing on the total views here on the next YouTube video here in a minute. But again, I appreciate y'all watching my content, and let me know your thoughts and your what you would like to hear. I appreciate that. This is one job that I've been waiting on, and I still want to see this thing through. And you've all been there since day one, and you're helping me see it through. So keep going. Keep being you. Thank you all the time. And I'm not just saying thank you to be saying thank you. I mean that. Thank you all. Much love. And let's get it.